All right, you're live.
Thank you, sir.
Good.
I'd like to call to order the special meeting of the Jackson County Board of County Commissioners and the School Board for Jackson County. At this time, if you would please rise. Mr. Donifro is going to say a prayer and then we'll do the pledge.
Please join me in a word of prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for the many blessings you bestowed upon each and every one of us in this room. Thank you for this great county in which we live. Thank you for this great state and this great country in which we live. Thank you for the freedoms that we enjoy by being Americans. Help us to not take those freedoms for granted, dear Lord. Now, guide and direct us. Help us to make decisions that are not only good for this county and good for our citizens, but pleasing unto thee. We ask these things in your name, dear Lord. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Willan, do you have anything?
I do not.
Okay. The last time we met, we were discussing the map, and there were some questions by the school board. Joey, can you go ahead and project the map up, please? Okay, is that the map drawn by Commissioner Pate?
No, it does not match. what we
That
want.
is the, that is.
Okay, that's Commissioner Pate map? Okay, I want to look at that one. Ms. Gardner, you brought up the point about a school being in each district.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Pate, is there a school in District 1?
I modified the map and sent it out to the school board, and I think Joey sent it out to the commissioners and put Cottondale Elementary School in the district. It did not affect any of the numbers at all. Nobody lives in that area.
Okay,
So now there is a school in there. That was the request, is there be a school in that district.
so all of the commissioners I know got the map and had a chance to look at it over the weekend. Is that correct?
Did all the
Okay.
school board?
No.
You didn't? You
No.
did not?
It was sent to you.
I
Same-
did not,
same-
I did not get it.
Ma'am, I copied the map that come from Mr. Warren, I mean, the email addresses, and sent it to the same ones. So
Okay,
Apparently, the school board had some issues getting maps because we had a meeting yesterday morning at 7 o'clock. They did not have some of the maps. And I said, you know, I saw the same thing you did where their email addresses were on there, but they did not have them. So I provided some maps yesterday, whether that map or another map. So they did not see it. I think some of them are seeing it for the first time today. But y'all want me to discuss what we talked about in our school board meeting yesterday now, or you want to do it later, or?
we might, go ahead.
Well, what you didn't see was just taking out Cottondale Elementary School. And I think some of the Mill Pond put it in District 5, but there's nobody lives in the Mill Pond. And that was it. There's no more changes.
So
Yes, sir.
yesterday, the school board had a meeting at 7 o'clock. And we discussed Commissioner Pate's map. We discussed the NAACP map. But part of the problem is having different chefs make the cake. And the school board said, well, it doesn't make sense to divide up Cottondale Elementary and Cottondale High School. Let's see if we can get a high school in every district. So we did another map that y'all got emailed today that you probably haven't seen it, that has a high school in every district. And basically it shifts great, the main thing it does is just Graceville from, I'm gonna go to my school board, to Miss Long, the entire city of Graceville. So Graceville is still a block. It moves, I'll go to Commissioner Pate. It moves Commissioner Pate a little bit further down into Round Lake, and it keeps Cottondale all in Commissioner Humphrey's district. So in my map, Mr. McKinney and Miss Long got all of Graceville was the major change. And Graceville High is now in Miss Long's district. Just follow up one more thing. I did a quick poll of the school board attorneys before I came here today to find out how many districts their districts match the school board. And last I checked before I came here was 50-50, 50 of them, 50% of them matched and 50% of them didn't match. That was only 10 out of 63, but you know, you usually get about 20 people responding. So I'm sure I'll get some more later, but the early polling shows it's 50-50.
Thank you, sir. Okay, before you sit down, Joey, do you have the, no, Joey, you changed. Do you have the map that Mr. Fuqua is referring to? Do you have it where you can share it with?
I put a copy in, a hard copy for y'all, and I mail it to each county commissioner and to Willan and Michelle.
I think we have it here at the desk.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but we
we
need
do.
it. We need it so we can pull it up and see what you're proposing for Round Lake.
It was emailed, maybe Willan can forward it.
No, well, they just dropped mine on down into Eric's district, but they moved Eric's district on up into yours. Once you move one line, you start moving everything. You got to. And what I remember seeing, I was the largest and Eric was the next. Is that right? And now,
Population wise?
Well, I was the
No.
largest with changes, right?
yeah, but I'm talking about the original.
Original.
And now I'm,
Tony's the largest,
I
and I'm
think
second.
number 2 on
Now you-
population.
What I'm talking about, the maps have changed from ours being the biggest to the smallest.
That's
the
Fuqua right there.
Yeah. See on the 87 on District 1, that makes District 1 the biggest one. District 4 is the smallest. District 2 is the next to the smallest.
Where you see it?
On the left-hand side. But like I said last meeting, once you move one line, you're moving everything.
87 versus.
The lowest one's 81, 600. No,
They're relatively close in comparison to one another.
Matt,
well, I mean, they all have.
can I ask a question?
Yes, go
How
ahead.
they changed.
On my District 3 and Stacy's District 3, the the southwestern boundary, which is a straight line running north and south, what is that based on?
I believe that was a precinct line. Because what I did was that sort of weird, if I remember right, that sort of weird shape right there
Uh-huh.
was a precinct. Because when you go on the adjustment thing, if you click precinct, it sort of highlighted all of that.
Which
So
one?
The southern boundary is Dry Creek?
Dry Creek and Chipola River that
Right.
was in mine that
Right.
proposed to be in yours.
In this map, it is.
It doesn't, I don't think it goes all the way to Panama City cutoff. Flint does.
Right.
Mine
This does.
This one may go up to it or close to it.
Yeah, it don't. That's
The one that I
still-
did, doesn't go as far west as the one that Commissioner Pate made on your southwestern boundary. And I think, as I said, I think that was a precinct.
Precinct line.
It's blocked.
Just precinct blocks, I think. Just.
And both of these, again, I'm just getting clarification on my district, Stacy's district. The northern boundary is the same as what it was. It's basically a section line, which is what it.
We'd have to
appears
zoom in
be.
on it.
compatible with what it used to be.
Yeah. I don't
Can you
see-
zoom in? Yeah, come on for it. We should be able to see streets. Okay, I see some. And it appears to be section lines all the way through. No,
The whole northern,
no, there's one right there. You just faded it out. The northern portion. When you come down, that changes.
it's all Cavern State Park there. I believe that whole northern line is all
So-
basically section line, maybe until it gets over to,
It's Hartsville Road. Mr. Hill, you have any comments?
Yeah, I'm in more for the other one. I mean, I like y'all, y'all just moved that just for Graceville, because I thought the other day when we left here, we was about 98%. Always the confusion was, I think, it was
They wanted a school.
a school, sure, and I think that was the part of Graceville, and anyone wanted Graceville, I thought that was the only contention, but
Well,
you can do it from the seat.
the discussion, I heard two lines of discussion. One was put Graceville High School in Mr. McKinney and Miss Long's district, which the NAACP map did. And there is one, don't split up Graceville. So in my map, I did not split up Graceville. I put it all in Commissioner McKinney and Miss Long's district. Now, you could certainly go right back there and split it and do the same thing. I heard there was issues regarding the division of Graceville from a citizen standpoint, and I'm trying to run that down through the Graceville City Commission, but they haven't had a meeting yet. I don't represent Graceville, so I can't tell you what they think.
I mean,
Yeah, they're
Dr.
just
Nichols,
far and
Dr.
Dr.
Nichols
Nichols.
is the one.
But
that
Dr.
spoke.
Nichols isn't on the city commission in Graceville. I'm trying to find out from the city elected officials, their position.
Is it
Oh.
bar?
Mr. O'Bar?
Come up, please. Do you serve on the city commission? No,
Yes, sir.
He the man.
I thought the father had.
Yes, he sent me an email. That's why I'm here today.
All right. So what are your views on splitting Graceville?
They like it the way it is right now. The citizens I've talked to, Frank asked me if I'd heard anything. I had not. So we started soliciting information of how they want it. They still want 1 and 2 to be Graceville.
So they like it split.
Yes.
Well, that's not what I'm hearing from the citizens.
Dr.
but
Nichols,
I
would
know
you
how
like
that
to come
goes.
up?
Yeah. Like Dr. Nichols.
While he's coming up, Matt, my point just a second ago, Matt, what I was trying to say
Come
was,
up, Terry.
that when we left the other day, I mean, I know y'all board had maybe not had enough much time as we did to do this map, but I thought that was the only point of contention, and obviously it may be different for the mayor now on the thing, but the map that Clint had provided to us had it divided, the other one did not, so I just wondered if that 50-50 split of the 67 counties with 10 of them baseline is that the only thing that we could change? And just let it all be mirrored besides the area of Graceville? Y'all have it split on the school board side, which would give y'all the high school, and the county side would have it as, I mean, that's 98% or more of the geographical location.
Their map does not have to mirror ours.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. That's what
Well,
I'm
we
saying.
could, that would be an easy fix to make on this map and maybe take care of some of those other issues and increase the density of the Black population in District 1 if you split Graceville. It would make District 1 have a higher density of Black population without moving somewhere else. But if you just split Graceville in half,
You know, y'all side, I'm
It-
speaking
it-
in reference to y'all side, not our side, I'm talking about y'all
Yeah,
side.
it would make the numbers,
It would get what y'all was asking for at the table, was that y'all wanted one high school in a district. And then the citizens that Clint's talking to, saying, was it his perspective, is wanting to keep it, would like it to be whole. So wouldn't that solve both problems if we just enacted the fact that we're 99% the same, except that one city limits of Graceville?
I think it would, but I need to, sit down with my people and say, hey, here's a latest proposal. One thing I like is we're meeting frequently. I get paid when we meet.
I schedule the meetings.
But it keeps it moving and new ideas come to the table and we can develop some kind of consensus. I'd like to have the NAACP's input in either my map with Graceville split. I mean, that would be an easy change to make. So that's just my thought is let's.
What, why the change and suddenly we gotta have a high school? Last time we met, it was a school. In fact, I even proposed the K through 8. That's no, can't do that. So I don't understand why now suddenly it's a high school.
I'm going to say reflection and deliberation.
That's a very good answer for an attorney. Dr. Nichols.
Again, the comment was made that the citizens would like to leave it like it is. Well, you're not leaving it like it is when you start shifting this all the way over into the 2A community. When you start shifting that, it changes. It changes the dynamic of the district tremendously, which has been changed, as I stated last week, which has been changed for 35 years. Graceville and the surrounding area has been split. I have all due respect for Council Equay. He and I worked together for a number of years, and for Mr. Bondurant. But this is not helping the west side of the county at all. It's not helping in trying to form any cohesiveness because it runs into Mariana, it runs into East. It ties. It scatters it out so much, and you've got that in 4 and 5, and now it seems like there's this push to try to keep that and to keep that separated. And I feel strongly about we need, it benefits the whole county when the west side of this county can progress. And we need to be able to progress. And one of the ways that we need to do that is we need to have access to representation. And this is the time to speak about that. It's so I think what Commissioner Pate has done has pulled together as smartly as possible to be able to get that done, to cooperate within that district, and then District 1 will be able to cooperate with one another, and it puts together, and it's like 4 and 5 is not messed with that much. So you have to make a change. And there's always going to be heartburn when you make a change, but there needs to be, it needs to move and it needs to change. It has to, because the numbers are out of whack. So again, I'd encourage you to make sure that we keep this community and the surrounding area intact in this plan, please.
Well, according to the guidelines that we get, they want us to try to keep community towns together. Now, Mariana, you got to split it. In order to make any numbers work out, you've got to split it. You could draw Mariana separately, but you would not be able to comply with the consent decree, I don't think, by just drawing Mariana out. So anyway.
Well,
yes, sir.
in my opinion, like I said before, I'm totally against being cut out of Graceville altogether. I would like to keep it like it is, like we split, and pick up some more African American votes by moving the lines south.
What is the number of black votes under your on his map?
Fuquay's map.
Fuquay's map, the number of black votes for District 1.
All I know is in the north half of Graceville, the way it was divided before, there was a higher density higher
The
percentage
town,
of
yeah.
blacks than the south part.
Right,
They look like they're mirror images of each other.
exactly. And we can pick up additional
White versus black.
black votes in the south part of the city.
So
Not much,
Yes, we
not
can.
on the south.
What's the numbers on the south, Joey?
I don't,
I'm just
That's all about it.
well, we were talking about breaking up communities and where people went to school. Look at all that green below Graceville. That's where people that go to Graceville, or a lot of them come from down in District 2. So, you can draw these lines any way you want to. Nobody's gonna be happy. I mean, everybody's not gonna be happy, but, I don't know. I say Graceville should be Graceville, the Graceville area, because all that green, they're considered cotton, I mean, Graceville.
know what he needs to
So
do.
now just roll your hand, move your palm down to the right corner of. Right there, so that's, I can't see it left, is that 30?
You need to click on that, click on it, right? Because it's
I don't know.
still showing the
Okay, I
1800.
got you.
Yeah, click.
I just want to see the total.
Now that's
Under here.
that's total that block. Yeah, 30, right there.
Yes, Mr. Dunaway, come up, please.
But she was trying to.
It's got it.
I think we have to say.
Now, go over to district details on the left-hand side. Drop down map, and there's your numbers there. If he's got District 1 selected.
Is that one?
But we were looking at this.
No, I wanted the district.
Yeah,
Well, under Mr. Fuquay's, I want to see the district.
When you look over to the right, you'll see, once he clicks on that. Under district selector, make sure you have number 1 selected to the left-hand side at the top. Okay, there's the target. Now, under. What's your percentages? Can you see it?
but
No,
you also can.
It's on the back page of your.
It's on
You
the
hit
left-hand
the
side.
statistics
get
and
any.
it pulls it up. It's right here.
But is that broken down again by separating Graceville north and south?
No,
Okay, that's what I thought the question was about, what the ratio was north versus south part, if you split it.
Using one easy line.
Yeah,
How
well,
we
the
typically-
current line as it is, I would propose.
it doesn't give me one of
Save
those.
that map, so you can edit it, you can go to a block function, and paintbrush, and it will show you what.
A few questions. Why the purple below city, right where the hand's at right now?
And for his, Mr. Chairman, for his representation for his, Graceville, and that portion of the city, I'm the only person sitting on this board that graduated from Graceville High School or attended school over there. So that's why I want to try to do all I can to keep it in my district.
Okay. So what did we come up with? Because I can't read, my map is cut off.
What?
I did not get the total. It's got the total, and then it's got white, and then it stopped.
Hit statistics over there. I mean, you can't see it there. Okay, that's,
All right. Now, is that Mr. Fuquay's map?
yes, Matt.
Yeah, that's it.
So it's,
This off. That's
it's
what we got.
50.29%, which I think is less than what my map was and
Yes.
the NAACP. About 2 to 3%, I think.
If you split Graceville, that 50.29. go up.
If we took Graceville out, it would go up.
Split it.
The split. South portion, like I was talking about.
I thought these numbers were from his map.
This is Matt. Yeah, we should have one. Should have a stapled copy to it. Not a
So let me
copy.
ask you, Commissioner McKean, just from our standpoint, this board,
Yes.
is it, you're wanting the Graceville to be made whole or remain the same?
Well, I don't have no problem with it being split. I have no problem with it
Okay.
being split,
But are you talking about from your standpoint or from the school board standpoint?
from my standpoint.
Oh, so you,
Right.
you're saying that they.
And we pretty much mirror one another, boys, you know.
Okay, I was just clear and making sure that you wasn't speaking for, for
Right.
them to have that accommodation.
But like I was saying, to pick up additional votes, we just move southward some, to pick up additional African-American votes in those
South
communities.
which way? Southwest.
Toward
South of Graceville.
Graceville, right.
On
about-
the NAACP map we were provided, the south section of Graceville had 163 black residents and 573 white residents. And it's my recollection that the north part was pretty much the inverse of
Right,
that.
right, okay. And I think that's the reason why it was that way, when we were speaking.
Okay, anything else? Come back up, Dr. Nichols.
Reason for the split is because of Baptist College of Florida. And you've got a party that basically is represented there and a more constant, even though it's a more rural area, you've got a concentrated area of people that come in there that are a Republican Party. And that's the reason that it's being cut out. And again, that affects the ability to be able to bring people together. And you're hamstringing the community because you're doing that and you're taking the college out of the district that it was in the name of racial relations. And in the name of trying to draw that out, and you're stretching that district and you're tearing it up. It's not fair, not right.
Anyone else wants to speak on this? Yes, sir. Come up and state your name.
Leon Kelly with the NAACP. You had a question a minute ago as to why did this turn into the schools? I think it turned into the schools when a school was allowed to be close to another school that drew the pupils or the students from one area to another that caused this problem.
I agree with you, Mr. Kelly. We got students from all over the county go to Mariana. I know some out of my district come up here and all the districts.
This may be a question for any of y'all that wants to. What's the current population? Because I understand that same thing to Mr. Kelly's point. Is how many people that live in proper Graceville actually go to school in Holmes County? And is it Poplar Springs? Is that the name of it? So I said, well, let me just say this. What's the population of the high school from 9 to 12? Does anybody know how many students in that? I heard
They
it's
have
less
that
than 100. I mean,
Roughly 200.
209 through 12?
Yes.
Well,
The
So
majority,
basically 50 students per grade.
from my common experience, since I represent Holmes County School Board too, is the majority of the students we're talking about go to Poplar Springs. Some of them go to Chipley, but most of them go to Poplar.
So when did y'all see that decline, if you make a note? I mean, when did the decline happen? I mean, that sounds really low for Graceville, being the second largest municipality in our county. Sneeze graduates.
10 or
quite well north
15
of
years
that,
ago.
I'm thinking.
It's long, Matt.
Hundreds.
It's been going a
It's
long
going
time.
on when
And-
I came out.
It's got worse.
Right.
One thing also that changed is the new open enrollment policy that the state has mandated the school boards follow, that if you've got an opening in your school, you got to take the student if they're from another county. It used to be you'd have to come before the board, you'd have to get permission, you'd ask what for. Now it's, you got a slot in Poplar Springs, and I live in Alachua, Florida. If I want to go to Poplar Springs and you got a slot, I can go.
I don't know that that's much in question.
Oh, no, I just
There is a lot of
Mr. Kelly
people-
brought that up about the.
Yeah, I don't
students
know
like
that.
that. I wasn't sure just how much does the neighboring county affect those demographics too?
Okay, any more comments, questions? Okay,
Mr. Chairman, I'm prepared to make a motion to accept the map that I drew.
okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Pate to accept the map that he drew.
Second.
And it was seconded by Commissioner Hill. I would say that before we adopt that map, Commissioner Pate, I think we ought to go through and identify the boundaries, what roads and everything. Because I know I was looking at over the weekend and like Lupine Drive out off of Blue Springs Highway. It shows the line 150 yards past the street.
Well, if you
And
look at any of
if I was
the
gonna
maps,
do that, I would shove it back to the,
if you look at any of the maps, the way the things are drawn out, they don't always follow that road.
But we
I
need-
think their intentions are to follow the road.
but I think we need to go through at some point. Now, whether we do it, accept the map in principle with the refinements. I'm okay with that, but before we leave today, I would want to go between 1 and 2 and show all of the boundaries. Take 2 and 3, show their boundary. Check them. All I want to do is check them. Because when you get out there where we're at and you're grading roads and everything, I'm gonna grade up to John's house and I'll stop because that's your district. We can't do that.
The one concern that I have is that quite a bit, I'd say maybe 35–40% of our district, and I say our district, Mr. Goodson's and my district appear to be section lines. And, I thought that was one of the initiatives of this endeavor was to try to get those district lines aligned with roads and or
Are
creeks.
you talking the top part and the
The
side?
top part, the
The
northern
two sides,
line
the
and
top part.
quite a bit of the western line, depending on which map we're going with. But yeah.
Well, I know the
Yeah.
bottom part.
Well, I think we discussed that last time. Now, what was the lady's name was represented in the way CP last?
Ms.
Ms.
Franklin.
Franklin was up, and I think, if I remember right, I hope I did, that she kind of concurred there will be, have to be some section lines, no matter how you draw it. I mean, they're just not straight enough roads. I mean, you have this thing looking,
I know. The ACLU lawyer came up with, just using census tracts and
Right,
everything.
yeah,
And
that even made it worse.
the first time I saw a census tract map was about 3 weeks ago. So we got to go back to the old street maps to make it work. All right, any more comments?
Well, I just want to clarify, make sure your concern and anyone else's was that you're saying that you want to verify the maps by roads?
I want to go through
Okay,
and look at it. If it's feasible,
because his motion
move
didn't
it.
include that.
Yeah, move it to line up on a road if we can. I don't want to take 100 people away or anything
Don't
like
change the
that.
numbers, but just put the line on the road.
Yeah,
Because some of
and
these
like-
vary off a little bit, every one of the maps.
Yeah, I think the map.
Mr. Matt there, his map had some that was not even touching, like District 1 was in District 2 and wouldn't touch it. But it's easy to do with this thing.
But
So,
the only thing, I brought up Lupine Drive as an example. That's what I want to straighten out.
Are you talking about doing that now or subsequent to
Are
voting
you,
on it?
if y'all want to vote on it with the provision that we,
But we'll need to, I think
True
we
up
need
the
to get
map.
straight, because I guess that y'all will, obviously, more how y'all want y'all, with ours or working how y'all feel is best for your constituents. But I mean, we can pass it subject to us.
Truing the lines.
But if it varies too much, then you'll vary it from that.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the only concern I would have.
But I don't
use
think.
section lines when you have to.
Understand that.
Use streets, use creeks, use lakes, railroads, whatever. I just want to true it up as much as we can. Don't use any more section lines than we have to.
Have you looked at this thing to see if it affects, if it just moves over to the road?
Yeah,
It
that-
probably
that-
went
that's not-
census tracts and.
I know that's what
how
it
you
is,
do. So it shouldn't change.
but are you going to write the description for the map as a census tract?
But yeah, it's a combination.
Oh, and I think you're going to
Well,
wind
you've
up
already got 3 parameters. You've got the creeks or rivers
Creek,
or lakes.
road.
You've got highways, you've got section lines. Why wouldn't section? I mean,
census
census
tract.
traffic part of that equation.
I think you'll have to.
Also,
Commissioner.
before we vote, I'd like to hear from Mr. Goodson, since his district and my district will hopefully align. Because again, I go back to the overall intent of trying to make sure the school board district and the county district.
Can I let Mr. McKinney comment?
I would like to hear from the ACLU attorney, Mr. Warren. He's on Zoom.
He's not, is he?
Yeah,
Yes.
he said he was gonna be.
Mr. Warren?
What was his name? Mr. Warren?
Yes, Mr. Peacock.
Commissioner McKinney would like to hear from you.
Yes, if the question is specifically about Commissioner Pate's map, as it stands based on the last few comments that were made, certainly very possible to, as you said, true up some of the section lines to nearby roads. I don't think that's a big problem. In terms of compliance with the consent decree, I think that, the basic shape of Commissioner Pate's District 1, I mean, as he said at last week's meeting, it's pretty much the same as the NAACP ACLU map, with the exception of removing that portion of the city of Graceville from District 1. But in terms of the command of the court in the consent decree, I think that this district would be in compliance overall. There's a little bit more analysis that I want to do that's not just based on census numbers, but overall, I think that this is in good shape in terms of the Voting Rights Act.
Very good. Thank you. Go ahead, Paul.
I was just gonna say, I'd like to hear from Mr. Goodson, and heard him comment on, our district. Stacy, are you comfortable with it, or?
Well, I mean, of course, y'all gonna do what y'all gonna do as far as, District 3 is concerned. Me and you are picking up a whole different perspective. Our district is basically changing a lot as far as our district is changing a lot, and I understand the premise of why, and I know Mr. Pate's map is very comparable to the NAACP or ACLU map. I don't really understand. I personally like Mr. Fuquay's in the school board because on the west side, we do have a straight line. On the west side, we're going out to the Panama City cutoff and across the Panama City cutoff. So I have no problem where it's going down south. I like a block more than, that's about the only difference. What's your opinion? And I do like the fact that Ms. Gardner's comes in and we don't have that. What is the V cut out there? Where's that area at?
That's
I know
right at the intersection of 71 and 90, Tractor Supply
Oh, okay.
and
I
Flint
was
Drive.
making the numbers, mate.
That's Flint Drive would be in that area.
When you asked me, I couldn't remember, but you gotta make when
No,
you
I
start moving
understand.
them lines, you gotta make the numbers.
I understand.
fit.
I mean, if anybody's played with that map, the elections office has done, that is where you can move it. It is amazing when you morph one of them over here and change the dynamics on another, and then it impacts, I guess, all the parameters that we have to meet. And I think that's challenging. If anybody sit there and put a pen and pass into it with a magnifying glass as I had to do, it's challenging no matter what.
Mr. Johnson.
We had a meeting yesterday morning and talked about our map, and that's how Mr. Fuquay came up with the map. I don't know that our maps will ever coincide with your maps, and I'll tell you why, because we represent the entire county, not just a district. And I can tell you, if somebody from Graceville calls me and they got a problem in the school, I'm gonna do the best I can to handle it. If not, I'm gonna call Ms. Long or Mr. Pumphrey. However, you're talking about splitting Graceville. Grand Ridge is split, Sneeds is split. The only city in the whole map that's not split is Malone.
Sneeds is not split.
Sneeds is split almost down the middle. I mean,
The city limits.
there's a lot of people that live north of Sneeds that go to Sneeds. I mean, it don't matter how you split it, Highway 90 or River Road or whatever. You guys are looking at it from a different perspective.
We have to.
I can tell you that if I lived in Graceville and I was a parent at the school, I would look to Ms. Long. I'd pick up the phone and call Ms. Long, got a problem with the school. Now, Ms. Long, at this point in time, based on the map that you have, she's not representative of Malone, of Graceville High School or Graceville School in general. So honestly, I think the school board now is going to sit down and look at these maps, and we might come up with our own. Because
We might have to do.
I don't think that your map is cohesive to what we're trying to do.
And I think that's when,
Understand.
man, you said you had 10 samples out of 67. And I imagine you'll find that's gonna run into, the money you go with, probably that spread margin is gonna be about the same. And just because of that, the different representation of how y'all's schools lay with conjunction and others, ours is.
We laid Mr. Hunter Nolan provided us a bus route map. And I can tell you, the bus route for Gracefield area does not hardly, I mean, it basically takes up all of the north section of District 2. Basically, from where you live at north, it goes, is zone bus route to Gracefield School. And so it's,
Which is about 9 miles south of Grace.
right. And so, go back to your point a while ago, kids now have automobiles, so traffic to school has changed dramatically. We have got a lot of kids from Gadsden County coming over to Jackson County school system. And we're glad to have them because, you know, we're losing kids maybe on the west side, but we're picking kids up on the east side and the south side. But not, most kids don't travel by bus anymore. And so they drive. And so if there's a good basketball team in Mariana, chances are kids are going to gravitate to the Mariana school or Snead School or Malone or what have you. So things have changed, but I'm just sitting here listening to the pros and cons upon the map, and I can tell you, the people that call me, a lot of people call me from the Grand Ridge area, north of Grand Ridge. Actually, my whole family lives in District 5, not District 4. But they call me with problems. I represent those people indirectly. They're not in my district, but I represent them. You guys are looking at it from a whole different perspective. You're not in my district, so I don't represent you. I want to tell you, you represent everybody in the county.
Exactly. One
We know
county.
that.
Well, and I get calls from all the districts. And, you know, I'm just like you, referred to the appropriate people. Where, you know, if it's Clint's district or Commissioner McKinney's district or heaven forbid, Commissioner Hill. But I refer them to whoever they need to go to and make sure that commissioner is notified that that I've received a call.
And I think, Chris,
And we all do that.
you're exactly right. I'll speak for myself, so maybe another four would disagree with me, disagree. But since I've been on board with 7 years, what the heartbeat of this county to us from complaint, number one, is roads.
Road.
So it's not school, it's not
We get
anything else. We get school, we get something comparable on the line. It's going to put a drop on mine. But what I'm saying is that our reaction is based upon roads. I want my road fixed in my district, where I got a pothole in my district. They're not calling Road and Bridge a lot of times. They call us. And so I think you're exactly right. And I think it's the due diligence of both these boards to represent your constituents how y'all feel it needs best for you. And that's, again, I refer to what Matt said a while ago. I think you're going to find that number still runs north on checking on the differentiation between the two county boards of this state and how those two are separate. I'm thinking those numbers will run on up there really close. And some of them just said, listen, just like we're sitting here talking, we have different needs from y'all's are centered. Your needs is either mostly at geographical locations, the schools. That's usually where the event happens, or the school route. But ours, again, is dictated by roads. And I think that's where I think we owe, and y'all do too, and I know y'all will handle that, is where we may have to morph it just a little bit to tweak it to fit y'all's needs and y'all's constituents and ours too.
I know get your school bus drivers call me frequently. I think and encourage them to call me because they're calling about roads. They're out there every day. They see them. They know where
I
the
had 81
potholes
calls last week on roads. From a Sunday morning to a Sunday morning, I had 81. I had no clue what Road and Bridge got. I had 81 in my district on roads. Any other ones? I probably wasn't even 4 of those wasn't roads maybe. So that's my numbers, and I think that's what guides us. So.
Okay, just Mr. Kelly.
Just a comment. If the school board and the county commissioner don't mimic each other, it's gonna cause some great problems when it comes down to voting.
Ms. Dunaway, would you come up and address that, please?
think what Mr. Kelly is referring to is the split precincts that you'll have when the maps don't lay on top of each other, they don't mirror each other. As far as our perspective from the supervisor of elections office, we do ballot on demand. So when someone comes in to vote, they present their ID and we find out what precinct they vote. And so we're able to print the correct ballot. In the past, we had to print those ballots ahead of time and they were picked and pulled is what they were called. Where I think the confusion would be with your voters about where, who represents them and where they're supposed to vote. But whatever the map is decided on by the county, we'll look at our precincts and decide, do we have to adjust our precincts? And hopefully we won't have to. But I think that may have been what Mr. Kelly was referring to.
But yours voting is precinct is based upon the physical address.
Right, and the needs of the voters, correct.
And whether it's District 5 for county commission and District 1 for the school board, it doesn't matter because when I walk in, you're going to print my ballot.
That's correct. I'll
So
print
there
your
won't
ballot.
be years past, it was a problem, like you said, but we voted and bought those printers 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
From our perspective, we'll have, once the redistricting is done and approved by the state and the courts, we'll have to notify those voters and send out new voter registration cards to everyone, so they'll know where to vote.
So let me ask this. So what you're saying is it's not near as much of a problem if the two districts, the school district and the county, Board of County Commissioners voting districts don't overlay on it on top of each other.
Not as much of a problem as it was in the past when we had to pull those ballots when they were pre-printed. There's just going to be some voter education that has to be done whenever, a decision is made. We'll have to do a lot of press and educate our voters and get those new voter cards out.
Mr. Hill?
Well, I think we can lean to someone, honestly, again, back to Pat's point, but there's 10 counties that do it right now. And so I would say during our due diligence time, find out what growing pains they had or didn't have, or what mechanisms they used. Again, education, I think, is going to be everything. Very defined maps. I mean, it helped me out a lot when we went from one map, I don't know if I still got it. You can see this with a microscope, and then we got something that's got bigger roads on. I think that just giving the districts a map that's very clear where they can see it, but without your naked eye, better terms, is just making sure they see, okay, I live here, and there's very clear. And so I'd almost encourage, I think I'm going to ask Kevin if he could get another map and just size the roads up. I mean, the scale is the same, but maybe blow the roads up a little bit so we can see on, without assistance. So anyway, I think that, over for a minute, I get long. But I mean, again, I think to your point, I think it's just that voter education and very clear and concise answers and leaning towards the ones that counties that do it now and maybe some other ones we find that are, and just find out how they do that with the differentiation between the two.
I too have received some phone calls, doing some polling about if school boards and county commission district mirror each other. From Pasco Pinellas, someone called me this morning, county commissioner down there. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, because I know in the past, they did not mirror here in this county, right?
Yeah, they did.
Always? Don't think so.
They have in the last 16 years.
Yeah, but not always.
Chairman, can we hear from county council? Michelle, you have anything to say?
Lines or however you outside where they are. And that would be in compliance with consent decree.
What are the numbers on the map for the city,
Or
the one that you're getting ready to vote on?
okay,
Yes.
Let's show it up
I have to see it.
here. Here. It's
Get
this,
the,
that.
Ms. Long, what number?
That's wrong map.
No, that's,
Are you talking about black citizens in District 1?
Yeah, for the
That's
consent
right.
decree.
Oh, we're at 53.12. And the NAACP map was 52 point something. Actually, I'm a little bit more.
The consent decree says 50%, not a majority. Ms. Daniels. State your name for the record. We don't know you.
Phyllis Daniels. I just need a point of information for myself. It is my understanding that by the end of the year, for sure, before the next election, this action needs to be taken. Is that correct?
End of the year.
Okay.
Now,
So,
it may be extended, Ms. Daniels, but
okay, so
at this
just
point,
my
we're working on it
simple
into the
question is, and again, I'm way out of the loop, got interested in it last couple of weeks. That I know of, this is the second meeting of the two entities on this topic.
that's
Is
correct.
that correct? Okay, and the school board had one meeting in between the two meetings to discuss it. So they now have come up with something to look at. So my question is simply, what is the urgency today, October 26th, to make a decision without giving thorough review of the document that Mr. Fugway on behalf of the board has submitted? I mean, there will be more county commission meetings between now and the end of the year, ample time to make a decision. And so it seems prudent to me, given that this will be a part of your legacy as county commissioners, at least for the next 10 years, to give conscious review of the board's document before a decision is made.
Thank you, Ms. Daniels. Michelle, would you please answer that?
Just to address the issue of time frame, we do still have to get court approval of whatever the two boards decide. That still has to be submitted to the court, and we do have to get court approval to finalize that. That it's not today, even if they vote today and approve this, that's nothing of the sort, because we do still have to get a judge to sign off on that.
So if the school board comes up with a different map than what the county ends up approving, how does that impact the overall process? Both have to be done at the same time, or
They don't. The school board isn't required to do this at all.
And to be clear, I don't know which map I personally support. I mean, I saw the school board map a little bit ago when it was shot on the screen. So I don't have a dog in the fight, but just a concern for the county in general. I absolutely think it is the best situation for them to overlap. I think that is the best. Do I think that is gotta be? Absolutely not. But I do think that is the best. And then to your point, if they vote to approve what is on the table today, and it moves forward and is approved through all these other chains, then it does become the map. So if you delay your vote today, or since you have a motion on the table, vote to not approve the motion, vote to fail the motion, then you at least have more time to review the school board document before a decision is made.
Thank you. Commissioner Pate.
Not sure what we're kind of looking at. I guess now we went from a school in a district as far. And okay, and then I made that adjustment. We meet the requirements of the court order. Okay, and then it was a school. I fixed the school, and now it's a high school. Is next school? I don't mean to. But we can always keep changing this thing. But as far as the commissioners, I guess all we're looking at is just Graceville High School. And Graceville. To me, I'm gonna stick with that. I think Graceville needs to be in District 2 the way I have it drawn. He thinks District 1. So I don't know, you know.
Ms. Gardner?
Yes, sir.
Is it, did I
Okay,
miss an issue?
I would like to address Commissioner Pate's statement. Yes, sir, we did request a school. I think the mindset was completely different. We were discussing Graceville School, and I think what we were asking for is for you to look at zoning Graceville School into District 1.
But we-
We did not state it that way. The mindset for us was we would like to see graceful school, and we probably should have stated it that way. But when you go carve out Cottondale Elementary, which sits half of a mile from Cottondale High School, if that far, that's almost an insult to me. You should not carve out part of a community when you have an entire community that is sitting there. Now, I know you're going to say that you've carved out Graceville, but you've carved out 2A, you've carved out some of Grand Ridge, you've carved out some of Sneed's, you've carved out basically the only school district in your proposal that is not carved out somehow or the other is Malone School. And you're looking at the representation of children that should be represented extremely well. As Mr. Johnson said, as y'all have said, we're going to represent the whole county. We all are, and we're going to do our jobs to the best of our ability. But it never, in my opinion, never once dawned on me you would go carve out a school.
We talked about it that day.
No, we talked about Mariana K-8. We did not talk about Cottondale Elementary that
Yeah,
day.
we did.
It's currently in that district anyway. It's in District
So-
1 now.
So,
It's been separated for years.
whenever you, I guess is you're separating the two Cottondale schools again. And it never once dawned on me that that's what you would do. Whenever I guess the discussion was, and I guess I was following the discussion logically and putting my twist on it whenever I asked for that school. So that is where we're coming from. You've got 5 school board members. You've got 5 high schools. And we feel, I can't speak for the others. I feel strongly representation at each of these schools needs one of the 5, high schools need one of the 5 board members. And that is basically, I guess you're saying, what are we asking for next? We're asking for you to look at our map. We're asking you to evaluate our map and come up with a better proposal off of our map. We did not see your map until 2 weeks ago. You know, we did not know what your map looked like until 2 weeks ago. I did not get your map over the weekend. Several of us did not get your map over the weekend, which is no fault of your own, because we have seen, Mr. Fuqua has shown us where it was sent to us. You can't control it wasn't delivered, okay? But as Ms. Daniels says, we're giving you our opinion. And I'm not real sure you're willing to process and look at our opinion, because we have tried to process and look at yours. I do think, Commissioner Pate, we can come together. I honestly believe together we can do this. We just have a different of opinion as to where to go. And if we continue to meet, we can come together. And I guess I need to clarify what I was asking for better, and that is my problem.
Mr. Chairman, when I drew my map, did not think about a school.
And
When Mr. Warren drew the map for the NAACP or the AC, I'll get mixed up on all that, he did not consider a school there. So that day was the first thing, you know, about the school.
but the ACLU map did have
It
Graceville.
had split.
I mean, it did have Graceville School
It
in
had
it.
split.
And the school board's map does not have Graceville split.
No, it takes all of Graceville
all
out
the
of
way to-
District 2 and put it in District 1.
And it then
So-
drops District 2 down
And-
into Compass Lake or Round
Exactly.
Lake. Yeah.
And with, all of that encompassing District 1, what's the heartburn for that?
Well, what's the heartbreak with this? Just the school.
Well, like I told you before, my personal ties to the community of Graceville.
Okay, well, I hadn't lived in Graceville for 41 years myself. Do you live in the city limits of
I
Graceville?
don't live in the city.
I don't either. but we represented it. So I support my map, and I understand the situation we have with the school board.
And I don't think it's real critical if we delay, just like Ms. Gardner said, I don't think it's real critical if we delay for another couple of weeks voting on this.
What are we gonna do?
Well, I don't know.
Change
I
grace?
haven't
That's
seen,
what we're
I haven't had a
talking
chance to even look at what Mr. Fuquay put together. I would like an opportunity to at least look at it. I got it on my phone today, but it's hard to look at.
We don't have to wait
on my
2
phone.
weeks. if we did.
Well, I mean, whatever, you can.
Hey,
a week.
Tuesday. We got a motion we got to deal with. I got a motion in a second. The only way you can do anything different is for Commissioner Pate and Commissioner Hill to change their mind.
Is,
We'll
would a
see
week,
where we're gonna go. We're arguing over Graceville. Y'all might better look at these maps.
Why?
They changed.
Let me say my concern, probably, I'll make a decision what but I'm where I'm at, because, again, when we sit here today, and I know that we had presented y'all side of the map there, and that's true, because I didn't see this map until, I guess, day before the meeting last time, we had a map here that you drew.
That day.
That day. So I mean,
I was working on that
digesting.
morning.
So again, I look at, I'm being narcissistic here. I look at it probably like y'all are too, a little bit. I'm looking at it from the way I handle my district. And I mean, I've got projects in certain districts. I've got, constituents that look at, so I looked at it again, how, and unbeknownst, I'm not sure that y'all made a decision where the school's going, right? Grand Ridge, built in, we don't know.
It's according to the amount of funding we get.
Most likely it's gonna be the same campus. Okay, so either way, it would really be on the straddle line of a district, or might even be in my little bit, about 200 yards out there, whatever. So I looked at it from what my needs and what my constituents was. Again, I just looking at me, really didn't hear it, no one else. And I just said that from the standpoint that I knew what best represented my district as a whole since I've been on the board. And again, I didn't quantify any schools or represent how y'all handle y'all's functions on a day-to-day basis or whatever. So again, that's the reason why and some of this I'm not even agreeing with. I'll say that because I'm losing some that I've got projects existing in right now. This will existingly come out of our district money from my district to do these roads. I'm sure like kind on everyone else, there's some money that's being spent right now that's don't take that district away from, or that area away from my district. So again, I look at it from the holistic approach of my district. Now, again, the numbers was my biggest calculus because in mine, I couldn't extract enough votes to meet the federal judge's order. There was not enough ways to do it to keep my district contiguous. And so I knew that would rely on Commissioner Donafro's and Commissioner Pate's and Peacock's district to extract it to Commissioner McKinney. So again, that's where I am. I've still got some heartburn, I'll be honest with you, on some of this. But I've lost all of Highway 9 with section one little old street that I think the section line, not section line, the census tract went on the section line. And that's it. I've lost everything from Butler Road, if you're familiar, all the way through the management area, Howell Road, Alderman Road, Weddington Road, El Bethel Church Road on the east side. I've lost all that in my district. And so again, had heartburns, but I knew that where I was at second largest district population wise, that I had to give up something. And that again, with me was a horse-sized field to swallow. But I mean, I try to work with this and I try to morph this one. And when I morph one part of it, I'm over here taking away from another district. And so I just say that this is nothing, again, that's why I said, honestly, to all of y'all, I think at some point we can have another meeting, we have two meetings or whatever. I think that y'all really, really need to look at what y'all need for your representation, because y'all's to me is a little bit more simplistic. I say it respectfully, y'all's are schools and the people that are there, but most of the problems are where the kids are at. I imagine most of them are generated from there. Mine is dirt roads of 409 miles in my district. And that in itself does a challenge to me. And we got extra graders in my district just because of the amount of roads we had to take over in 19 from compensate 128 extra miles this county now has to fund. It's not funded by that MSBU anymore. So again, I look at it from my standpoint. So I'm not gonna speak for anyone else, but I had heartburn with this some myself. I had heartburn with this having to change it. I wonder why it hadn't been changing. How many years is the last time? 30 years. And I read the little state statute that says it must be changed every diannual, and it's not being. And so anyway, that's my perspective. I do take into account. I think each one of y'all, again, as I'll reiterate and I'll shut up, is that y'all have to consciously look at what districts y'all want. If they don't mirror perfectly, obviously there's 10 of them right now on the survey that doesn't either. I mean, we're not creating a round wheel of a square one. We may have to say that, that we just can't mirror perfectly.
respectfully, you can't hold on to the fact that this was just sprung on either the commission or the school board. Because this is the responsibility of each board to be able to do that. This is not something that, and I can say I was a part of that. I don't think ever an odd number year rolled by that I didn't ask that we look into this. And I sat on the board for 16 years, but it was always just pushed to the side because that was the easiest thing to do. There's nothing easy about this. I know every single, I know what you're thinking. Nobody wants to lose the parts of their district that have been good to them. There's a loyalty there. It changes things. But you got to do something. The numbers are way out of whack. And you know, you're making sense of what you're doing. But something has to be done. If you're not, then you're in a situation where you're in a challengeable situation. And it's going to be aggravation. It's going to cost money. And it's, so do something.
And I agree with what Dr. Nichols said. This is a very complex issue. And when I look at all of these maps, and I've not had as much time to digest them as I'd hoped or that I want. But, you know, there's some things in my district that I'm not happy with. Number one, you know, the fact that our district is moving south into Dry Creek area, that characteristically is a lot different than what my district is now. So I have some concern about that, but I understand that, you know, just like Commissioner Hill, there's some things that we're all going to have to give up. You know, it's not a clean, cut and dry situation, but all I'm saying is, you know, one more week to kind of digest this. And now that we've heard what the school board's concerns are, you know, I don't think one more week or even 2 more weeks is going to make or break. And it would certainly give me a little bit more time to really study a proposal that Mr. Buquay's put together and to even study in more detail this new map that Mr. Page is going to.
Okay, yes, Ms. Dunn.
Last thing, I don't know parliamentary.
You have to come up to the mic because they have to get the recording.
I don't know parliamentary procedure like the back of my hand, but I have heard of tabling a motion.
That's correct.
So I've just wondered if that's an option that would give the 2 week or the week or the however much defined time y'all choose for everybody that has seen it for the first time today to process it. I mean, your vote may be exactly the same 2 weeks from now, but it would be an effort of due diligence on the board's part, in my opinion, sir.
Thank you. As the chairman, I can't table anything.
I call for a question.
Okay, Commissioner Pate made the motion. He's calling for a question, which means it's time to vote. Okay. We have a motion by Commissioner Pate to accept his map, a second by Commissioner Hill. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, like sign. Motion carries 3-2. Now we have to true your lines. Okay?
How is that process going to work? Because
All I want to do is go through and look at the lines.
just on mine especially, because if we can prove it for some roads, it would certainly be helpful.
Well, with yours, you got to be very, very careful and that you don't change the number.
Yeah, you change the numbers.
I don't think you'll have as much problem because down here is very sparse. That's very sparse.
This looks like it's Whole River and Dry Creek. Yeah,
But let's do it. Let's start up in the commissioner with Commissioner McKinney. He's number 1. Do 1 and 2. Does the school board want to stay around for this, or do y'all want to leave? All we're going to do is go through and look at these lines, see if we can true them up.
I think we're gonna.
What's your line? Would you send us a copy with your names of the
Absolutely.
streets on them, please?
Thank you.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Yes, Miss Sheila.
Yes.
The true is what?
Yeah.
No, there was
Amend it.
discussion about that.
Well, you might want to just go ahead and do it.
Amend it.
Yeah, but you. What now?
Go ahead.
I asked you what she was doing.
I mean, yeah, we can, I mean, if there's question on whether we need to make the motion to true it up, I'll make that second. I mean, I'll make that motion to make sure that we don't, true up these maps to make very precise. I think that's my motion, Mr. Chairman. That's okay.
Okay, got a motion by Commissioner Hill,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Pate to go through this map, try to true up these
We got
lines.
to, I mean, there can't be.
Yeah.
So,
I agree. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Ms. Sheila. Oh,
Michelle,
let's take a 5-minute recess.
okay. My normal spot. Did you actually move it?
We're back in session. Okay. What we need to do is we need to, Joey, right up in there at the state line, we want to start zooming in. That's District 1 and District 2. Mr. Pate, you drew this, the father of it.
Mr. Chairman,
You may have to back out a little, Joey.
Mr. Chairman. Should we be doing this in coordination with the surveyor? I'm gonna have to have new legal descriptions.
Well, can we get down to?
We probably need to kind of refine it down
And then let him.
to, and yes, there are district lines that he's going to have to do. But I'm hoping Ms. Daniels has got somebody taking notes. And, you know, instead of doing census tracts, if we can, we want to use a road or that. I know what you're saying, bits and bounds.
Mr. Warren has emailed a first stab at a trued up version of Commissioner Pate's map. I'm gonna see if I can print this.
I sent it to Joey. Joey should have just got it.
Joey, you're copied on it. Can you pull it up?
He might have been doing it while we were talking. Why everybody leave?
They're tired of listening to you.
So Mr. Warren says that this is, again, a first stab at a trued up version of Commissioner Pate's map. The boundary between 3 and 5 could follow the mill pond all the way up to the spring rather than jogging up Russ Road. It makes a few more tweaks to accommodate other concerns I heard today. All the deviations are well within the constitutional plus or minus 5% limit of about 420 people.
Thank you. But I still want to start up at the state line and come down and let's go over each district. Because until we look at them,
Wrong map.
it doesn't count.
Is that what he just sent back? Well, he's just. That's it. That was,
No,
Is that your map?
that's all.
no,
No. Pull up
No.
the Pate map and let's start working on it.
8 tuned up northwest 1026.
All right, pull it up.
Yeah, wrong
All
map.
right, now, all right, what? Whoa, that line right there is a section line, right?
That's gonna be the Alabama state line. You're talking about.
No, I'm coming
North,
south.
south, north, south.
If you'll zoom in, you'll see a road about halfway down. See that right there to the left?
What is it?
Well, you'll have to go in a little bit. Okay, so it's running that straight on up.
Does it go all the way to the
No.
state line?
It looked like it's.
It's a dead end.
Yeah.
All right, at the end of Chapman Lane, you're gonna pick up a section.
I guess that's.
Ms. Daniels, did you get that?
Harlan is taking the notes,
Okay,
and we have a recording.
okay. Come down to Salem AME Church, down in that area. No, what's that road there? Browntown Road? Okay, so we come to Browntown.
That should be that road. That should be that road. It's a, section.
It's kind of like a little curve
The
there.
curve, so we follow Browntown.
See, that's the road
Don't
where.
write until I tell you, okay? That way you won't have. You come down Chapman
Chapman
Lane
Road, where's Chapman
to Browntown. Follow Browntown, all right, go down Browntown Road.
Hold on.
No,
Show me
Joey,
a
you're
reference.
going the wrong way.
Show me a reference. Oh, we're outside Graceville, Chapman Road.
You
That's
don't
the
even know where he's
other.
at. You don't even know where he's
I
at.
don't know where it's at.
Please, you know this road here.
I know.
Yeah, we want to start drawing it that we're going. So
Well, that yellow marker ain't gonna be.
We don't know if we have one.
I bet the county owns two.
see that either.
I can.
I'm not too loud when I move, so bear with me.
What does that
I think it does say.
Mr.
say? Okay,
Peacock,
that's it right there.
So this,
Follow Browntown.
Straight down. Now,
What's the next road from Browntown?
you're coming all the way to Highway 2, and then you're gonna go 2 over to, help me out, Alex, Parkview.
hey, Mr. Chairman, I was just gonna suggest that we could take Pate's map, send it to Kevin, let Kevin draw it in our county system, print that, and let him go ahead and make a first stab at truing it on the line.
Yeah.
Sending it to y'all per district, let you mark, we'll print you one out that you can mark on. Because this is too hard, this doesn't match what you drew, this is. And then you can make your marks based on that and then come back together with your recommendations.
So you'd rather do that?
I think it'd be a lot more efficient if y'all could see it on a printed map, what Pate did, and then let Kevin take the first stab at truing up the roads.
Right. I agree with that.
Let's go home.
Well, y'all can't, you have 4:30 executive session.
Okay.
Is that acceptable to everyone?
Yeah, I
Let
think
them print
so.
it.
So, Joey, you'll get the map to Kevin and convey it.
When can Kevin have that done?
Something like that, okay.
I wouldn't imagine working.
It really shouldn't, if you
I would
can
imagine-
get in and see the road
right,
and the section lines, it shouldn't take you no time, really. Our problem is
Yeah, I'll send in. what I'll-
zooming in.
I'll send in what I've got. I can't imagine.
But we'll get
2
you all
days,
one
so
printed,
days
but
2,
tell them we want to take
Don't
a
wanna
stab
meet
at
Friday?
truing up the road.
Alex?
I'm not very big.
Okay, when can you meet? Because your schedule is probably
I'm
more
gonna tell you,
complicated.
and then
I mean, I do my.
Monday? Paul, can you meet Monday?
oh, yeah, no, afternoon,
Right,
afternoon.
I have to be in Vernon at 5:30.
Oh, let's do it early afternoon, I would think.
I can meet anytime in the afternoon.
So what time's convenient, Alex? You working that morning?
Can we do 2 or 1 or 2? Well, let's do 1:30. Whatever works for you.
1:30?
Two actually is better for me.
Okay.
2 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
Should be back.
So y'all need to set that officially.
All right, so
that Monday.
we're meeting Monday at, not yet. All right, we're back in, we're in session, so somebody give me a motion.
I make a motion that
Can
we
we do it,
set
can we do it a little bit
special.
earlier too? I'll have to leave at 3. If we do an hour.
Oh, that's true.
1:30.
I can do that. 1:30 or
1:30.
1:30, yeah, just, I mean, I have to leave at 3 no matter what, that's good.
Make a motion to set a special meeting for redistricting on Monday. What is it,
November
November 1st at 1:30.
I second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Pate, second by Commissioner McKinney to set a meeting for redistricting for Monday at 1:30. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0.
And we'll have these proposed maps, by the end of the week anyway.
I think, Joey, that should be a reasonable
So
goal.
we'll have it for the week, absolutely.
Ms. Sheila, we just decided they decided they didn't want to do it the real way. They want to let a computer do it. So we'll, Kevin's going to print the Pate map and we'll true it up Monday.
Yeah.
That's all we're doing, just like we were talking there. You know, the census tract showed Browntown, going over Browntown Road. No, Browntown Road will be the line.
There's
There's
no
a
people
curve.
in there, they're in that census tract. They just.
It will be in District 2.
This is only on the county commission map. The school board can do that, and
They probably should more.
Michelle,
What time
you
we gotta
said,
be back here? 4:30?
4:30.
4:30.
You said this, are we finished? You said the school board doesn't have to draw them out?
They don't have to redistrict the way that you do.
They can do it can they do it anytime?
They can, in odd years.
We can actually modify ours.
If I was reading it, I read
We're
the
required to.
information, I thought it's supposed to be done all year after a census.
For counties.
Right, that's what I know, but they kept saying that, I think Dr. Nichols said every other odd year he's been talking about this, but.
They can redistrict it in odd years.
Okay, all right, but
They don't
we're
have-
supposed to do it every
10
odd
years.
years after the census.
Yes,
But when's the last time it was done?
it would have been before 1986.
Before 86, we don't know how far before 86?
I-
It would have been 81.
83, wasn't it?
Gotta be 81. It was an odd year after the second. Okay, I know. I just didn't know if that was a part of the same statute.
All right. Is there anything else we need to discuss
At this-
before we adjourn? You don't have anything?
We're meeting in here for the executive.
Well, you come in here to start, and then we'll go into the conference room. It looks like you eat pizza. Smells good. You walk down the hallway.
Hmm?
We got a meeting tonight.
It's 6.
No, I canceled it. Adjourn.